Hello crafty friends, this is Nye with All Things Were Created. This video will be for the steps for cutting the Halloween Ghost Countdown free SVG. This file has a lot of different components. We have to change a couple of the cut lines to score lines, duplicate a few things, and so I thought it would just be easier to make a video of these cutting steps instead of loading the blog post with a ton of different pictures. With that being said, I'm going to be using the Cricut Design Space software to cut the file. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you have the software opened and that you're on a brand new blank canvas. You're going to want to come over here to the left side of your screen and you're going to press this upload button. That's going to take you into your Design Space library. You're going to want to select the upload image and then you're going to select browse, and you need to go and find where on your computer or your device you downloaded and extracted the files. Find the file that has the SVG written at the end, select that, and then click continue. That's going to then bring the file and the design into your library. I already have mine there, so I'm going to select back. Click the design inside the library and then click Add to Canvas. That's now going to take the design and bring it onto the Canvas software. And as you can see, the file is pretty big. What you want to do now is just make sure that the design is selected, and we're going to come up over here to under the layers panel and we're going to select this ungroup button once. You want to make sure that you only select it once, because what that's going to do is just ungroup the elements from each other. If you select it more than once, it's going to then take the elements and bring them down to individual layers, and that's not what we want. So now we're ready to come over to the layers panel. You can use your scroll bar at the side just to kind of scroll up and down so you can see the different layers. We're going to start here at the top with this first layer that is just a bunch of straight lines. Select the layer and then come over to the operations panel, select that drop down menu and then change it to score. What that's now going to do is change those cut lines to a score line, which is what we want on top of our box. I'm going to now select both of those layers, the score lines and the box layer, and then I'm going to select attach here at the bottom. What this is now going to do is when we get to the Mac preview, the software is going to keep the score lines and the box layer together as one. If they are not attached together, then what will happen is the software will go and make another mat for the score lines and just go and score some plain cardstock instead of actually scoring the box that we're going to be cutting. So I'm going to scroll here a little bit on my layers panel until I can find the next couple of cut lines that I need to change. I've come now to these orange blocks or orange squares. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the eyeball here and just hide these. I'm going to cut these at the end. And what I can see also is that underneath here is my next set of lines. I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to come back over to the operation menu here, select that drop down arrow, and then change it to score. And again, I can see that those cut lines are now dashed lines, which means that they are score lines. I'm going to come back over again to the layers panel, select that grouping, and then I'm going to select attach. Now, this one I'm going to actually duplicate as well, because this will be my, these two boxes here are going to be my actual countdown boxes. So I needed to duplicate that. So now I have two, and I'm going to scroll a little bit further again to find my last set of lines here, which are right there. So I'm going to select those straight cut lines. I'm going to come back over to the operations panel and I'm going to change those to score, and then I'm going to select that grouping, and again I'm going to change that and attach them together. And so once I attached those, it brought them all up to the upper part of my layers panel. Now my next step is I'm going to change all of these gray boxes to black. I left them gray so that way when you guys brought them into the software, you would be able to see the cut and score lines and know where they were. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select the back part of the box, not the score lines. I'm going to use my Command key on my Mac here. If you're using a PC, it's probably the Alt key. I'm going to select all of these gray boxes. I'm going to use my scroll bar here just to go down a little further. So I can select all 4 of those layers, and I'm going to come back over here to my operations panel. I'm going to select this gray box here, which is my fill color. I'm going to change that to black. And all that's going to do is when I go again onto my matte preview, it's going to group all of these together for me. And let's see. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll again a little bit further towards the bottom, so where my the ghost and the back layers are. I'm going to find this black layer that's between the orange and the green, and I'm going to select the eyeball to hide it. I'm going to cut this layer on my craft board. And that's it for what I'm ready to cut first. I'm going to select Make It, and my software now is going to take all of those elements, group them according to color, and put them on mats. So I have this little pop-up that came. I'm going to select on matte. I'm going to select 12 by 12 inch. I'm going to click confirm, and my software has prepared 11 mats for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to start to just rearrange a couple of things here. I'm going to smush these numbers over here so that way I can cut them on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and I'm not using a bunch of my 12 inch by 12 inch cardstock, and I'm not creating so much waste, because I don't know about you guys, but my 12 inch by 12 inch cardstock, it's pretty expensive. And so I try to not use it as much unless I really need to. So that was my white mat. I know it's gray, but I'm going to use it for white. Again, I just did it for purposes of, sorry, I'm getting distracted here. I left it gray just for purposes for when you guys are cutting, so it's easier on the eyes and it's easier to differentiate, because sometimes that can be a little tricky and difficult. So once again, I'm just smushing all of these in here. I'm utilizing as much space as I can. That one's really close. Let's see if I put it there. I'm going to put it there. And just bring this one down a little bit further. And this is my second black mat. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to move it to my first mat. Like I said, I'm just going to try to maximize as much as I can here. So all I did was I selected the element. I'm going to select Move Object. Then I'm going to select my first black mat. I'm going to click Confirm, and I'm going to bring it in, and there it is. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this rotate bar. I'm just going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to bring it down here a little bit because I know I'm going to stick something else there. So that's my second black mat. This is my third, and see this banner here? I'm going to move this one again to that first black mat. Because this first black mat, I'm going to use a 12 inch by 12 inch cardstock. So I'm going to try and maximize as much cutting on that as possible. And I'm going to leave that there. That should be good. Nothing's touching. And so that's the second one. This is the third one. So I can tell this is one of my boxes. I know that it's one of my boxes because it has the score and the basic cut. So that one's fine. This is my second mat. So I think I actually have 5 black mats. I'm going to try and bring this one down to 4. So I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to move this one to my 4th mat. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the 4th one. I don't think I'll be able to. I don't think I'll be able to change positions with this here. I'll do that one there and that one there like that. And I don't think I'll be able to drop this down to 3 mats. I think I'll end up having to use 4. So is this, so that's that one. And oh, I'm sorry, I'll end up with 5 mats that are black, I think. I'm going to bring this one here. And okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this here. So these two are my countdown boxes. I'm just going to bring it there like that. And let's see, I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 black mats. This one will be fine. Okay, so I'm ready for the orange. And this banner I'm going to move to the first orange mat. And again, I'm just rotating it here so I can make everything fit because, like I said, I don't like to waste my cardstock. So I'm just going to move that in there. And my yellow is fine, my green is fine, and my purple is fine. So I should end up with 10 mats when I go to my cut settings page. And okay, I'm just doing one final check here. That looks good. This one's going to be blank. That's good. This one's good. That one's good. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to jot down the order of my mats here. I'm going to need 1 white, 4 black, 1 orange, yellow, green, and purple. And I'm also going to make sure that I come back and select this first mat, because if I don't, when I get to the cut settings window, what it's going to do is the software is going to think that I'm starting with whatever mat I have selected. And if it's not number 1, then it's going to throw off my order, and then I'm going to end up wasting cardstock, which would not make me happy. And I'm sure it won't make you happy either. Okay, so I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to jot down my order and get my cardstock ready. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I got my cardstock in the correct order. I have everything lined up and it's ready. I'm going to select continue. And what did it continue? There we go. That's weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut all of these out using the regular medium cardstock cut setting. And I already have my mat loaded into my machine. I'm just waiting for it to connect. Okay, there it goes. I'm going to select this medium cardstock setting. If you don't have this here as part of your favorites, you can just select browse all material, and then you can find that under the cardstock setting. You can see it right here. I'm just going to select it. I'm pretty sure it's the same if you're using an Explore. I'm using my Maker, but I'm pretty sure it's all the same here. And then just select done. And then I'm just going to go ahead and press go on my machine, and I will meet you back on the mat. Okay, so I'm back on my canvas. I just finished cutting out all of the different layers here. Everything cut beautifully using that medium cardstock setting. What I am now going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and delete these from my layers panel now that I have them cut. I like to delete them because I've been known to cut things twice just by hiding them and getting confused. So I just like to delete what I've already cut. So I'm just going to grab all of these, kind of create a little bounding box here to select them all. And then I'm just pressing the delete on my keyboard. And I'm going to, well, I'll just grab it here on the layers panel and just delete it there. So those two. So what I'm left with now are my orange squares and my ghost. So the ghost layer that I hid, I'm going to come back over and grab that, select that eyeball to unhide it. Then I'm going to grab the entire layer and I'm going to bring it up here. So now what I can do is I can select the ghost and I can just delete it, and I still have this layer that I'm going to use to cut on my craft board. So I have it selected. I'm going to select make it. I can see everything looks great here. I'm going to select continue. And I already loaded my mat with my black craft board. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select craft board here. Again, I have it as part of my favorites. If you don't, just select browse all materials and then you can find it. I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go ahead and press go on my machine, and I'll meet you back on the canvas and we'll cut out the last section. Okay, so I'm back. So I just finished cutting out this ghost layer on my craft board, What I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to bring it up here so I can see it. I'm just going to go ahead and select the eyeball to unhide my orange squares. Then I'm going to select this ghost layer and I'm just going to delete it from my canvas. So what I'm left with now are my two squares that are actually going to be the inset on my countdown boxes. I'm going to select both of these by just kind of creating that bounding box. I'm going to come up here to the rotate toolbar and I'm going to just rotate it 90 degrees. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab them and put them way up here in this corner, because this corner is going to represent the corner of my mat. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the layers panel and just duplicate it by pressing that duplicate button. I'm going to put these down here at the 3-inch mark. I'm going to duplicate it again over here. And then I'm going to bring this down to the 6-inch mark. And I'm going to duplicate it one more time and then put those down at the 9-inch mark. So that's for, I have 6 different sheets of scrapbook, Halloween themed scrapbook paper. I need to create 12 boxes. So I'm going to then take these 4 here and I'm going to duplicate these as well. I'm going to bring these over here to the 6 at the top. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut my 6 different sheets of Halloween themed scrapbook paper. I'm going to cut them down just a little bit and place them on my mat in the same spaces where I have these orange boxes. So that way when I put it into my machine will cut these squares right here on the mat. And so the last thing I need to do before I select mat preview is I'm going to just again create another bounding box around all of these. And I'm going to select attach to attach them to this exact spot on the canvas, which is representative of my actual mat. So now that I have them there, I'm going to select make it. I have my mat preview and I'm going to go ahead now and prepare my actual mat with my 6 different scrapbook patterned paper. And I'm going to put them in this exact orientation here. And then I will go ahead and cut. So I'm just going to pause it here for a second. Okay, I'm back. And so now I have my mat with my scrapbook paper. I'll have it in this orientation here. So my squares will cut out on 6 different pieces of scrapbook paper. So I'm going to select continue and there it goes. I'm going to give my machine a chance to connect over Bluetooth. Because I'm using scrapbook paper and not cardstock, I want to make sure that I'm using a lighter cut setting. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this light patterned paper setting. Again, if you don't have this one here as part of your favorites, this is what I normally use when I cut scrapbook paper. But if you don't have this setting here, you can go ahead and browse on materials until you can find it. And let's actually just do that really quick, because if you don't have the light pattern cardstock setting, let's see what else that we could use that might help. I'm just scrolling all the way to the bottom where the paper is. And I think I might have missed the section. I did, it's up higher. Oh, there it is. Here we go, paper. It's under this light green. Okay, so if you don't see the light patterned paper on yours, you could probably get away with notebook paper, or handmade paper might work too. I would try those too if you don't have the light patterned paper. There it is. Okay. So once again too, if you don't know how to favorite these, what you could do is just select this little tab over here and that will allow it to show up in your favorites. So you don't have to keep going to browse all materials. You can just have a faster cut. So I'm just going to select this here. I'm going to select done, and my machine is already loaded with my mat. I'm going to select go, and I will make another video that will have the assembly of the Halloween Ghost Countdown. Okay, thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please like and follow along for more great files. Thanks for everything.